Hello and welcome to r/askreddit. You have 30 minutes to hide a USB drive in your house. Your house will then be raided by police, detectives, and some FBI agents, all searching for the USB. Where do you hide it so it won't be found? Put it inside a hot dog and give it to my dog. He never chews anything and just gulps it down. The next time he takes a dump, I retrieve it. Time's up. Post 2 hours old, so OP, did they find it? The fact that they haven't answered speaks volumes. I think we need to check the OP's hard drive. And everyone else's apparently. Damn, what do you guys have in your USB drives? All mine are old school assignments I'll never look at again, but still have just in case. Pirated music of punk bands from the 80s that never put out more than a demo, and 7-inch. I'm not worried about being caught. Heat up the bottom of one of my jar candles until it can slip the wax out. I've done it before. Hollow out a space in it, put it in, and put the whole thing back in the jar. I've done it before. If anyone asks, I just meant getting the wax out of the jar. Honest. X doubt. Only question is, what were they hiding? This is a fairly common way to ship small amounts of drugs. I wouldn't rely on the cops being unaware of that one. The last time I flew, I took home a candle and got searched and swabbed by security. This makes a lot more sense now. This is actually brilliant. My wife once left a typical glass candle on the stove when we were cooking, and it made the entire candle clear. Could have easily dropped a wrapped USB in there and let it settle again. No one would find it. Would it take longer than 30 minutes to settle? You could set it in the fridge. By boo, then the cops either see a candle in the fridge or see a candle that's frosty from being in the fridge. Good point. I would wrap it in foil to prevent frostiness and take it out after 20 minutes. If I needed a Hail Mary after that, I put it in the freezer with all my other candles, and say I was trying to pop out the wax to reuse the glass. In the handle of my oven door. The screw loosened and one side fell down. When I went to fix it, I noticed it was hollow. You could probably fit 15 in there. Was thinking between the glass of the oven door. I recently discovered I can access that space between the glass. If I could do that, I would print and insert a picture of a clean oven interior. Print a face and hands trying to escape of a child. Gingerbread houses, you know? Better yet, use thermal reactive paper or ink. Make it look normal when cold, but once the oven gets to 350 Fahrenheit, make it show an image. How? Mine is super dirty in between the glass, and it's been bothering me for months. Mine, you unscrew the handle from the door, then the front face skin of the door opens separately from the heavy oven door. If I don't need easy access to it when they leave, I'll remove a wall outlet and push it through a hole in the back of the electric box into the wall cavity. Impossible to find without ripping out all the drywall, since there will be no evidence that it was put in there once I put the outlet back in. Do just this, and the sniffer dog would have it in 10 minutes. Going further. The police triumphantly find the chip, but continue searching for due diligence. The dog finds other chips, and again alerts officers to the original hide. Nothing inside. Extreme diligence runs the void finder and metal detector just in case. No holes, no metal save the screws holding perfectly normal drywall. Even careful measuring of the hide returns normal widths on everything. Diligence complete. Officers take the chip back to the lab and find it heavily encrypted. Their office nerds are confident it can be cracked in a few months. Maybe a year? They get to work. Office nerds then have an amazing rate of suicide over the next few years because the encryption is based on D-pitch mode music, and they get too depressed to go on. The one D-pitch mode fan in the group succeeds, but finds a second layer of encryption based on smooth jazz. PD has to hire a new group of lab nerds, thus never finding out the chip is merely a decoy. The actual chip is still in the carefully searched wall, behind the outlet box, covered by normal-looking 2 half layers of drywall, with cut-off screw heads over the chip. If somehow the officers do find it, there is a single unencrypted file with a nude photo of myself. Thus anyone foolish enough to even look at it is permanently struck blind. All these replies, and yet no one realizes that this was written by DeWitt Schrute. I'm gonna wrap it in some plastic, then down the pipe it goes. I was thinking a pill bottle. Pill bottle would be significantly harder to swallow. Oh, I was thinking literal pipe. Like, hide it under a sink or something. But yeah, I see the original comment meant ingestion, lol. Glued to the underside of my wheelie bin handle. There's a space right under it, which should be enough for a USB drive. If they flip it over to rummage through the trash, then they'll be holding it with their hand. Under that or under the insulation inside my attic. I like the idea of them having it in their hand and not knowing it. You can take off a doorknob and put the drive inside the cutout. I can only imagine that right now, somewhere in the world, there is a group of FBI agents raiding a house, sweating, not being able to find a specific USB. Their boss is on their ass. Their last hope is to consult the all-knowing members of the r/askreddit community. Sir, we're out of options. What do we do? Lieutenant? Yes, sir. Consult the hive. Sir, the hive mind is erratic and regularly confused by its own thoughts. To catch a maniac, you have to think like a maniac. Now, are you a maniac, son? No, sir. Consult the hive, and may God have mercy on our souls. Did you check his anus? Well, that's Reddit out. Come on, you bastards, come on! Sees note about assholes. Looks at the family dog. Lieutenant, I've got an idea, but you're not gonna like it. Confused dog face. Inside the notch where my basketball rim/backboard connects to the garage. I remember thinking, wow, I could hide something here when I put up the backboard. Nice try. Come back with a warrant. Plays Cherry Pie by warrant while searching house. My property is 10 miles wide. Good luck, fuckers. No, I'm not. How long did you have to wait for this moment? I'd say about 6 years, 2 months, and 1 day. Bury it in the insulation in the attic. It would take days to sift through it all to find a USB drive. The bonus would be that they'd find my tape measure that I lost a few years ago. I was finishing up a project in my attic last year, putting tools away, and couldn't find my tape measure, so I went back up and started digging around in the insulation to find where I left it. While doing that, a 2x4 I stepped on rolled on its side, dumping me off, sending me through the drywall and into my bedroom below. After I recovered, I looked across the room and saw my tape measure sitting on my dresser. It wasn't in the attic after all. Edit the aftermath. Take out floating rubber ball thingy from the toilet tank. Cut a slit in the bottom of the floating rubber ball thingy and shove it inside of that. Superglue the slit shut and replace it. Fuck man, that's some high level thinking. Toilet tank is the first place they're gonna look. If that many of them are showing up, it's imminent danger stuff. They're definitely gonna have an electronic sniffing dog. The dog steps into the house and just starts to fucking lose it at the TV. It's okay, boy. Pizza commercials always confuse you. Actually big-brained meme, holy shit. Pull the latch plate off my door frame, chisel a slightly deeper hole, pop the USB in there, and replace the plate. Who would ever think to look there? What if the FBI opens your door using the shotgun method? Then no flash drive for them, and you go away scot-free because it was the cops who destroyed the evidence. Well, that gives me just enough time to pop the circuit board out of the casing and just randomly solder it to a nondescript part of another piece of electronics in my house. I can then burn the casing. My CDT teacher would be so proud. Unless they're really, really good at their job, they're not finding it. Edit. Thank you for the gold, etc. for my very silly plan. I think this one might be the best answer, as no other answer addresses dogs trained to sniff out things like SDs and USB drives. I'm not kidding, they bring them in on child porn cases where the evidence is often on a drive hidden away from the computer. Having the USB circuit board look like a piece of electronics on a random device, computer is going to be confiscated, might work as the device might trigger the dog, but the trainer thinks it's supposed to have a memory board. They find the one that's supposed to be there, but don't find the hidden one. The key there is to litter the place with cheap storage media. Just have the dogs hitting on everything. Aha! The Raiders of the Lost Ark approach. Have as many false positives as you can get together, then hide the dam almost anywhere. They'll be so sick of the sight of USB drives, they ain't gonna be looking for extras. You do only have 30 minutes though, unless you already have that many USB drives in your house for some reason. I would like to introduce you to my husband and his board of drives. You could confuse the fuck out of some feds. Who is going to open a mouse, alarm clock, cell phone, microwave, look closely at the circuit board, realize that there is an additional component not required for the device to function, research said device, and discover it's a flash drive with the casing removed? Not the police or the FBI. That's more like Sherlock Holmes times 10,000. In the broken porcelain in my sink, then patch it with some instant noodles. Give it to my 4-year-old and say, "Don't lose this, bud." Poof! That thing is gone for at least a year. And this made me think of just putting it in a Nerf gun and shooting it in an empty room. Those darts just disappear. You'd have to pick the right sock though. The selection of what sock becomes a sacrifice to the laundry gods is not a process known to us mere mortals. My yard. Nobody goes in there and comes back alive. Ah, your yard is prepared with landmines too? My brother died last year, and substance abuse played a large part in his passing. He had a very successful business that he sold, so he was quite wealthy. At one point, he decided it was a good time to explore leveraging his position to buy Bitcoin. He borrowed $500,000 in December of 18 and bought Bitcoin, but he became paranoid when he started using Xanax heavily. He hid $25,000 in his house when he was wasted, and couldn't remember where. He told his housekeeper he'd give her $5,000 if she found it. She did, at the bottom of a box of Ziploc baggies. His final act of paranoia was to place all of his Bitcoin on an encrypted cold storage USB drive that he hid in the house. Several encrypted drives were found in the house, but nobody knows the password. He had a synchronized encrypted Apple Knows password file on his Apple devices, but nobody knows the password to that. So there is 1 million plus sitting on a USB drive, but no way to get at it. You might be able to get some of his devices unlocked by submitting a death certificate and proof of his estate to Apple. If he was using iCloud with an Apple ID, they may do it, but it's gonna be a very hefty process. Have you tried having someone bang on a keyboard really loudly while typing super fast for a few minutes before saying, "I'm in"? That always works for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.